The sun was hot that day. The sky was quiet. In a small village called Aji River, two baby boys were born. Their names were Mike and Maxwell. They were twins. But as they grew up, their lives became very different. Mike became rich. Very rich. He had big cars, big house, gold on his neck, and even a private jet. People in the village called him Billionaire Mike. But Maxwell was very poor. He lived in a small house made of mud. The roof was broken. When it rained, water entered his bed. He had no money, no job, no food, and no clothes. Every day, he walked far to go and beg his twin brother Mike. "Brother, please," Maxwell would say, kneeling at the gate. "I am hungry. I have not eaten. Please help me." Mike would look at him and pretend to care. Sometimes, he gave Maxwell old clothes. Sometimes, he gave him small food. But it was never enough. And Maxwell didn't know that the same brother he was begging was the reason he was suffering. Many years ago, when they were still young, Mike did something dark. He went to a forest. Deep inside the trees, he met a strange man. The man had red eyes and very long nails. They called him Baba Spirit. Mike was not rich then. He wanted money. He wanted power. He told Baba Spirit he was ready to do anything. "You want to be rich?" Baba Spirit said with a loud laugh. "Then give me your twin brother's destiny. He will suffer, but you will shine." Mike did not think twice. He agreed. He signed something with red ink. He gave Baba Spirit Maxwell's full name. Baba Spirit dropped the name inside a black pot. That was the beginning. From that night, Mike's life changed. Money came from everywhere. Big men started calling him. Business moved fast. But at the same time, Maxwell's life turned upside down. He lost everything: his luck, his peace, his joy. Maxwell didn't know what his brother had done. He still loved Mike. He still called him my big brother. He even prayed for him every night. But things were getting worse. Hunger made his stomach cry. Cold made his body shake. Pain filled his heart. One day, he looked into a broken mirror and tears dropped from his eyes. "Why is life so hard for me?" he said. "Why do I beg every day while my twin has everything?" He didn't know the answer was a secret. A very dark and dangerous secret that Mike was hiding deep inside his heart, a heart filled with blood money. Maxwell's clothes were dirty. His slippers had holes. His legs were tired, but he kept walking. His stomach made noise. He had not eaten since the day before. The sun was hot, but he didn't stop. He was going to his brother's house again, the big mansion on the hill. When Maxwell got to the gate, the two security men looked at him with disgust. "Why are you here again?" one of them shouted. "Oga Mike no like dirty people near this house." "I just want to see my brother," Maxwell said with weak eyes. "Please, I need help. I'm hungry." The guards laughed. "Your brother? You and Billionaire Mike are not the same. Go away." But before they could push him out, Mike's voice came from inside. He had seen Maxwell from the window. "Let him in," Mike said. "Let me talk to my brother." The tall gates opened slowly. Maxwell walked in with shaky legs. The house was shining. The floors were like mirrors. There were big cars everywhere. A smell of fresh food came from the kitchen. Mike sat on a gold chair, wearing white clothes and dark glasses. He looked like a king. "Maxwell," Mike said with a fake smile. "What do you want this time?" Maxwell knelt down. His eyes were red. "Please, brother," he said softly. "I just need a little money. Just small. I've not eaten. I can't find work. Life is too hard." Mike stood up and walked around slowly. He looked at his brother as if he was nothing. "You always come here to beg," Mike said. "Every time, it's the same story. Why don't you find something to do with your life?" Maxwell's lips shook. "I try, brother. I try. But nothing ever works for me. It's like my luck is gone." Mike looked at him again. His heart was hard, but he forced a small laugh. "Fine. Take this," he said, throwing a dirty N1000 note on the floor. Go and feed yourself." Maxwell picked it with shaking hands. He wanted to thank his brother, but something in Mike's eyes scared him. For a second, he felt cold. "Thank you, brother," he said, backing away slowly. "God bless you." As Maxwell walked out of the mansion, tears rolled down his cheeks. But something strange happened. A little girl selling groundnuts outside the gate looked at Maxwell and said, "Your star is shining, but it's not with you." Maxwell turned to her in shock. "What did you say?" The girl dropped her tray and ran off into the street. Maxwell stood still, confused. That small girl didn't know him. How did she say that? What did she mean by, "Your star is shining, but it's not with you"? Something didn't feel right. Something was very, very wrong. Maxwell stood by the road, holding the N1000 note in his hand. His eyes followed the little girl as she ran and disappeared behind the buildings. Her words kept ringing in his head like a bell. "Your star is shining, but it's not with you." He didn't understand it. What did she see? How could she say that? Maxwell felt a cold wind touch his back. He looked around, but no one was there. For the first time in his life, he felt something strange. Like something had been taken from him. Something important. He walked home slowly. His small house looked worse than before. The roof had a hole, and the floor was wet from yesterday's rain. He sat on the floor and looked up. "God, please help me," he prayed. "If someone has stolen my destiny, show me." That night, he had a dream. A dark dream. He saw a forest, deep and scary. He saw his twin brother, Mike, standing before a man with red eyes. He saw Mike hand over a paper. On the paper was his name, Maxwell. Then he saw the black pot. Smoke came out of it. A voice said, "He will suffer and you will shine." Maxwell woke up in fear. His whole body was shaking. He was sweating, even though the night was cold. His heart was beating fast. "What kind of dream is this?" he said. "Is it just a dream, or is it real?" He didn't sleep again. He sat awake till morning, thinking about Mike, thinking about that little girl, thinking about how his life had been full of pain for so long. When the sun rose, Maxwell made a decision. He would go and find out the truth. He didn't know where to start, but he was tired of being poor, tired of begging, tired of being empty. As he stepped out of his house, an old woman from the village stopped him. "My son," she said, "I had a dream about you. A very strong one." Maxwell looked at her with fear. "What did you see, Mama?" The old woman held his hand. Her eyes were wide. "I saw a mirror," she said. "A broken mirror. And in the mirror, I saw two boys. One was full of light. The other one stole the light and walked away laughing." Maxwell's heart dropped. He didn't say a word. He just stood there. Something terrible was going on, and it had to do with Mike. Maxwell couldn't breathe well as he walked away from the old woman. Her words shook his heart. His legs felt weak, but he kept moving. He didn't know where else to go. He just knew he needed help. Not money. Not food. He needed answers. He needed light. He remembered a man, Reverend Father Thomas, a kind priest who had lived in the village for many years. People said he was not just a man of God, but also a man of deep spiritual eyes. Some said he saw things others could not see. Maxwell walked to the church. The doors were open. The cross stood tall. Inside, it was quiet and cool. He fell on his knees at the altar and began to cry. "God, I don't know what is happening to me," he whispered. "But something is wrong. Help me. Show me the truth." Reverend Father Thomas heard his voice and came out from the back. His white robe flowed as he walked toward Maxwell. "My son," the priest said gently, "why are you crying?" Maxwell looked up with tears in his eyes. "Father, I feel like my life is under a curse. Nothing works. Every day I suffer. Even my twin brother is very rich, but me, I am like dust." Father Thomas sat beside him and placed his hand on Maxwell's shoulder. "Tell me everything," he said. Maxwell told him everything: the begging, the hunger, the dream, the old woman, the little girl with groundnuts. He even told him about how his brother Mike looked at him like a stranger. Father Thomas listened carefully. His face grew serious. When Maxwell finished, the priest closed his eyes and prayed silently. Then he stood up. "Come with me, my son," he said. They walked into a small prayer room. Father Thomas brought out a bottle of holy water and anointing oil. He placed a Bible on Maxwell's head and began to pray. "Father in heaven," he said in a strong voice, "this young man is lost in darkness, but you are the light. If his star has been stolen, let it return. If his destiny has been buried, let it rise again. If his brother has done evil, let the truth come out." Suddenly, Maxwell screamed. His head became hot. His eyes turned red. His body shook like something inside him was fighting to stay hidden. "Ah!" he shouted, falling to the floor. Father Thomas poured holy water on him. "Let go of him now," he commanded. Maxwell began to cry louder. Then, suddenly, he became still. He looked up slowly and whispered, "I saw it. I saw everything. Mike." He gave my name to the man with red eyes. Father Thomas's eyes widened. "It's true," Maxwell said, breathing fast. "My own brother used my destiny to become rich." And then he fainted. Maxwell left the church with fire in his heart. He had seen the truth. He now knew what had been holding his life back. It was not just bad luck. It was betrayal from the one person he trusted most. He walked straight to Mike's mansion. The night air was cold, but Maxwell didn't feel it. His mind was full. His steps were steady. At the gate, the security guards stood up. But before they could ask questions, Mike's voice came from inside. "Let him in," he said. Mike walked out to meet him. He looked surprised. "Maxwell, what now?" "I want to sleep here tonight," Maxwell said, staring at him. Mike's heart jumped. He suddenly remembered something Baba Spirit told him years ago. "Let him beg, let him cry. Give him food, give him rags. But never let him sleep under your roof. If he sleeps in your house, your wealth will shake, and the spirits will come." Mike forced a smile. "You want to sleep here?" he asked. "Yes," Maxwell replied. "Just one night." Mike looked away. He felt uneasy, but pride and guilt were fighting inside him. He nodded. "All right. You can sleep in the guest room." Maxwell followed a housemaid into a small but beautiful room. It was clean, soft, and warm, better than any place he had slept in for years. He lay down and closed his eyes. Mike, on the other hand, could not sleep. He tossed and turned in his king-sized bed. His gold rings sparkled under the dim light. The room was silent, but his heart was loud. Then it happened. The room became cold, colder than it had ever been. The curtains moved, even though the windows were closed. And then, a dark figure appeared near the window. It had no face, no voice, no feet, just a black shadow standing still, watching. Mike sat up quickly. He tried to shout, but his mouth was dry. He blinked. The figure was still there. His hands began to shake. Sweat rolled down his face. The air became heavy. He closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them again, the figure was gone. Mike jumped out of bed. He ran to the door. His feet hit the cold tiles as he rushed to the sitting room, breathing hard. He didn't need a prophet to explain what he had just seen. The spirits were awake. He had broken the rule. Maxwell was in the house, and the spirits had come to warn him. For the first time since he became rich, Mike was afraid. Not of death, but of losing everything he had stolen. Mike could not sleep again that night. He walked up and down his sitting room. His hands were shaking. His eyes were wide. Every small sound made his heart jump. The shadow he saw, it was still in his mind, silent, cold, and watching him. He sat down and buried his face in his palms. "What have I done?" he whispered. As the night slowly turned to morning, the door to the guest room opened. Maxwell walked out, looking calm but tired. His eyes met Mike's. They stared at each other. Mike stood up slowly, his body weak, like someone who had been beaten by invisible hands. "Maxwell," he said with a heavy voice. "I need to tell you something." Maxwell said nothing. He sat down on one of the chairs and waited. Mike knelt on the floor in front of him. He looked like a broken man. "I did something very bad. 10 years ago, I went into the forest. I met a man called Baba Spirit. I gave him your name, your destiny. He said I would become rich if I sacrificed your future. I was desperate, Maxwell. I was tired of being poor. I didn't think about you." His voice cracked. His eyes filled with tears. "I have been living off your light. That's why your life has been full of pain. That's why you've been begging me all these years. I'm so sorry." Silence. Maxwell looked at him. His eyes didn't blink. His face didn't change. Mike dropped his head. "Please say something," he whispered. Maxwell slowly stood up. He walked closer to Mike and looked down at him. His lips opened. "I forgive you," he said softly, "but I will not forget." Mike froze. His heart dropped. Maxwell turned and walked away, heading for the door. Mike sat there, shaking. His mansion felt colder than ever before. And for the first time since his riches came, Mike regret.